I decided to read or listen to a few art business books because I really wanted to deepen my knowledge about the financial and the marketing side of art. Unfortunately, I found it extremely difficult to find something new and fresh in this area. Therefore, instead of going for something new, I thought I would read something popular, a book with high audience ratings, so that I could start with a safe choice. So this was Real Artists Don't Starve: Timeless Strategies for Thriving in a New Creative Age by Jeff Goins. After reading the excellent reviews on the book and seeing that it's a Wall Street Journal bestseller, I must admit I had high expectations for this book. Unfortunately, the book didn't quite live up to these expectations. I don't even understand why this book is categorized as an art business book. I was hoping to get some concrete and practical advice on how to make a living as an artist and what different strategies exist to market and promote yourself and your art. I saw that the book is divided into 3 parts: mindset, market, and money. So I thought that the book would go really deep into these strategies. But the more I proceeded into the book, the stronger my disappointment became. Eventually, I had to accept that most likely I would not get much in the way of actual strategies for building a successful business to thrive as an artist. But let's see what I got instead. The book's aim is to show that the starving artist is a myth, and I have a few thoughts on this. If someone is really interested in art and they follow independent artists on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, they most probably follow hundreds or even thousands of artists who are clearly making a living from their art. You can see their work, you can see their everyday life, their stories about their business and how they became independent. Some of them just make enough to be able to continue making art, while others have a 6-figure business or even more. I agree that those who are not really following the development of this area and they do not see the countless examples, they believe in the starving myth. And of course, some young artists or even older artists are surrounded by people like these. For example, their parents, families, spouses, and friends, who of course will not have any idea about what potential lies in an art business. Of course, a parent who believes you cannot make money as an artist will, with the best intention, pass this belief to the talented kid, and they will tell them to choose a more reliable career. In this way, yes, this myth is completely alive in society, and I agree that people in general believe it. I also have a lot of experience in this because when I mention to people that I am an artist, they mostly do not really understand how a painter earns an income. I always try my best to explain that there are countless possibilities one can earn from art if they are flexible enough and open enough. And the difficult thing is not really finding a possible income stream, but rather choosing and settling down for only 2 or 3 of these and figuring out which ones are the best for you. So will those people who have nothing to do with this field and keep the myth alive read this book? I am not sure, but if you love doing art but lack motivation and you believe that it's not possible to make a living as an artist, please go ahead and read this and other books on the topic and follow a lot of successful artists online. I am sure that your mindset will eventually change. So back to the book. This book is rather that. It's a self-help, motivational and mindset change book, but there is nothing about building a business in it, to be honest. Actually, the first part of the book was the best part because it promised that it will be about mindset, and it was actually about mindset. Although I think that the rest of the book is also about that. In the beginning, I found the comparison between the mentality of the starving artist and the thriving artist very spot on. Just to mention a few. Believing that you are born as an artist versus believing that you can become one. Waiting to be noticed versus finding patrons. Working alone versus collaborating. Working for free versus working for something. The book started quite interestingly, to be honest. I was happy to hear some scientific background on creativity and some studies that showed how creativity cannot really thrive in strict systems. Even a few stories about Michelangelo and others in the creative business were fine in the beginning. However, this is another thing I wanted to mention about this book. It is overwhelmingly filled and stuffed with anecdotes and stories of successful artists, from Michelangelo through Shakespeare, Elvis Presley, Michael Jackson, and less known artists as well, to Steve Jobs and Jeff Bezos. In the beginning, when I didn't know yet that this is what is the book about, this is the actual structure of the book, I was happy to hear a few stories, but it became very irritating very soon. I also had the feeling that it was completely lacking in showing the other side. I know that the aim of the book is to show the potential in an art career when we do the right things and we think the right way. But I felt that it tried to sell the success stories a bit too hard while forgetting that there is another side as well, and a huge number of artists actually fail. Many times we can learn more from the artists who could not make it in their own times, or they could not make it ever. I would have been happy to learn a little bit about those who made mistakes, who could or couldn't correct them, who learned from these mistakes and they can tell what to avoid and what caused their failure. Because usually the success stories are full of chaotic events, coincidences and luck. But in a failure story, the reason sometimes is so clear and the person exactly knows where the mistakes were made. So I think a lot can be learned from those stories as well. Most of the case studies actually I couldn't apply to myself, and I couldn't take more value out of them than what was already told in the beginning and the end of the chapter, which was only summarized in a few sentences. Because this was the structure of the book. Success stories and some advice on what to do, mostly lacking in telling us how to do it. Everyone who is not a complete beginner knows that it's good to learn from masters or have patrons, or not to give up and not quit when the failure comes, or say yes to opportunities, or have communities, or collaborate and network with other people and artists, or show and promote our art. We mostly know what to do, and this is not why we read books. What we need help with is the how. This is the important part. This is what makes a book precious. How to do these things and what are the different strategies. We need action points to follow. We need some roadmaps to choose from. This book had the potential to develop and go deeper into these ideas, but it missed the opportunity almost every time. I felt that the direction of this book was good, but instead of going into deeper discussion on these very good and valuable ideas, it stayed on the surface and got stuck there, desperately trying to bring yet another story that would somehow showcase that the idea works. We were promised timeless strategies already in the title of the book, but the book failed to deliver any actionable, concrete, step-by-step advice on how one can start a successful and thriving art business. I personally felt that I could already learn more from YouTube channels and videos of artists who are building their business right in front of our eyes now, and not a few tens or hundreds of years ago. I learned from their ups and downs, from their mindset, more than from this book. I would give a rate of 2 out of 5 due to its lack of substance, not delivering its promise, missing out on going deeper into the very exciting ideas it brings up in each chapter, talking about what, but very rarely about the how, being overly focused on success stories while avoiding stories where we can learn from somebody's mistakes, overwhelming number of case studies at the expense of actual practical advice. This is, of course, just my opinion. This should not hold you back from reading or listening to it. If you like a lot of anecdotes and case studies and you lack motivation and you need encouragement, then read this book by all means. I took some notes while listening to it. I might share them in the description. Feel free to check them out. Maybe it will help you to decide whether this book is for you or not. By the way, I was listening to it on a free trial of Audible, so for me it was completely free. I will also share the link down below. Share any of your thoughts in the comments, or if you read the book, then please share also your opinion and your rating.